Hello, and thanks for joining us on this edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Dwayne Alford.
And I'm Kim Kodatek. The Blacksburg area experienced its first snowstorm last Monday, February 16th. According to the National Weather Service, Blacksburg received 8 inches of snow. Newsfeed reporter Kelly O'Toole has more.
I'm here in downtown Blacksburg a few days after the storm. The storm was exciting for Virginia Tech students who got a day off of classes, but it created some problems for some local business owners. Many food businesses in the area closed, and some that were open experienced issues. On the Virginia Tech campus, ABP and Turner Place closed in the afternoon, while the other dining halls stayed open. Papa John's is one of the few restaurants that decided to stay open. One of the Blacksburg managers says that they got a lot of calls for delivery, and he has heard that they were the only pizza place open during the storm. They were open until about 11 o'clock on Monday night and all of Tuesday. Starbucks is one of the restaurants that decided to close early on Monday. Employee Katie Warren experienced the changes.
So on Monday, I was working the midday shift, and we got the email that classes were canceling after 12, I believe it was. And so because we're right off campus and a lot of students work there, our managers decided that it was probably safe to close early instead of staying till 5 or midnight because the buses hadn't stopped running yet.
Katie says that they ran into problems with not having enough pastries on Tuesday because of closing early on Monday. Other restaurants had similar challenges because of the snow. The new Blacksburg restaurant, Wicked Taco, had to cut a lot of shifts and closed early 2 days this week.
After the recent bad weather that hampered local businesses last week, businesses are now operating at full capacity.
With heavy snow during last week, students have been shoveling their cars and walking to class in frigid temperatures. We asked students in Squires of how they've been dealing with the snow and if their classes have been canceled, and if so, what have they been doing with their free time?
Initially, I think it's crazy. I come from the other part of Virginia, and we don't get this much snow, and it's freezing.
I love snow.
I'm not a fan, gotta say. Every time my nose starts running, it freezes onto my face.
I feel overwhelmed. It is bothering my allergies. It is messing with my daily routines of life.
It is already hard enough waking up for class. Walking through several inches of snow is another hassle. With temperatures expected to be below freezing point, students were hoping for more class cancellations. Instead, they received more bone-chilling weather.
Blacksburg is known for getting a lot of harsh weather during the winter. But do you know what factors are looked at when Virginia Tech has to decide whether or not to cancel classes? According to Michael Marher, Director of Emergency Management for Virginia Tech, many factors are looked at when making such a big decision affecting tens of thousands of students and employees. The biggest factor is ensuring that the safety of the students and employees at the university. Other important factors include whether or not roads and paths have been cleared along campus for safe and manageable travel, and when the Blacksburg Transit is able to operate safely throughout the town.
We spend a lot of time working with the National Weather Service, which we're very fortunate is on campus. They're in the Corporate Research Center. We subscribe to private weather services. Senior leadership will come together to talk about when we should close, when we should open, how does that impact class schedules, and mostly so we make sure we close, or we pick a closing time so we're not closing in the middle of a class.
Although the university did not fully shut down last week, students did manage to enjoy some time off while the university canceled classes Monday afternoon and Tuesday morning.
With over 30,000 students and faculty on Tech's campus, there was always a need to have quality first aid available at a moment's notice.
Newsfeed reporter Jacob Emmer is in our newsroom and has more.
Thanks, Kim. Who do college students call when they fall and hurt themselves? What about when they party too hard on the weekends and need medical assistance? Virginia Tech's Rescue Squad was established in 1969 and has served the Hokie community since. The completely student-run station has attendants on call 24/7 and staffs all school-wide sporting and social events. Originally, the agency operated out of private vehicles and used medical equipment purchased through private donations. 46 years later, though, they operate 4 advanced life support-equipped ambulances. Of the 40 active members, 15 of them serve as team leaders. The rescue squad has received numerous awards throughout the years and is nationally renowned for its disaster preparedness. VT Rescue's volunteers will continue to brilliantly serve the tech community. In the newsroom, I'm Jacob Emmert. Back to you guys at the desk.
Virginia Tech graduate and founder of Follow My Vote, Adam Ernest, has developed an online software that will revolutionize the voting platform. A startup company located in the Corporate Research Center at Virginia Tech, Follow My Vote aims to create a voting process that's secure, accurate, transparent, and completely anonymous. The open source voting software will allow the public to track their personal vote and ensure a tamper-free election process.
You will be given an ID key, a voter ID key. So only you know your ID key. So you have the right to, we protect your right to privacy by not letting anyone else know what your voter ID key is. By using your voter ID key, you can go into the ballot box and find your vote and say, look, that is my vote, that is who I voted for. It's right there, and I can see that going into the total.
In hopes of creating a larger turnout and easier voting process, Ernest strives to put an end to the security risks that come with the online endeavor. The Follow My Vote software is slated to be released commercially by the end of the year.
Just ahead on the newsfeed, you might have better odds buying a lottery ticket than parking in downtown Blacksburg. But what if you live there?
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. Nope.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to the newsfeed. The Virginia House of Delegates recently passed legislation that will make college tuition more affordable for Virginia students. Delegate Nick Rush's House 1692 allows students to pay a flat fee tuition in the high-demand major, while Delegate Ben Klein's House Bill 2320 introduces a new undergraduate program with online courses that will cost students $16,000 each year.
Are only going to make the tuition go down to $16,000. Virginia Tech's tuition is only like $20,000, so I would still be having to take a loan out for $16,000. So it only helps about $4,000. So it's nice that they're trying to help, but it doesn't really help a ton.
Although these bills will only save Virginia Tech students $4,000 each year, out-of-state students will save almost $12,000. Both bills have been successfully passed, and the House are still waiting on approval from the State Senate. Virginia Tech students and Blacksburg residents have many choices for off-campus housing, but they may not have a say when it comes to choosing a cable and internet provider. Many off-campus apartments, including Terrace View, Collegiate Suites, and Hunters Ridge, require students to use Access Media 3 as a provider. According to Terrace View manager Candy Lane, it is not easy for leasing companies to switch providers. They have contracts with Access Media 3, and wiring equipment is already set up on site. Virginia Tech sophomore Carly Gillespie had only one option when she moved into her off-campus apartment.
Hunters Ridge, the clubhouse, they sent us a sheet of paper stating that Access Media 3 was going to be the company that would provide us internet and cable, and we were given a set of packages that we could choose from. We never had an option for different providers though.
Comcast and Verizon have service buildings in Blacksburg, but Access Media 3 does not. Gipsy has connection problems and thinks they could be solved if there was a local service building. Members of the Virginia Tech community are no strangers to difficult parking situations. However, the problems with limited parking do not stop at campus, but continue downtown. Residents living in the downtown areas surrounding Roanoke Street are struggling with the lack of parking in their apartment complexes and along the street. In particular, those living in the Chase, Tech Terrace, and Roanoke Street apartments are facing major difficulties. What happens when residents can't find a spot in their own building's parking lot? Well, they're forced to battle it out along the street and down the side roads to find a place to park.
You usually have to just go somewhere on Roanoke Street, but a lot of times there's not parking there either late at night, so then you have to go on a dimly lit side street if you get a parking spot. And I've circled for about 45 minutes before trying to find a spot.
Not only has the lack of parking led to dangerous, long walks home in the dark, but many residents have received parking tickets from the town of Blacksburg. And in the worst cases, many cars have been towed.
Whenever I have friends come to visit, or even if I have a group project or something, we can never come to my apartment because of the parking situation. There's no option to even park there.
Unfortunately for residents, these problems will continue until some type of changes are made. A big pool in a small town, the Christiansburg Aquatic Center was a controversial project when it was built in 2010. But today, it has an economical impact that goes beyond the water. CJ Fiala has more.
Thanks, Kim. The Christiansburg Aquatic Center, built in 2010, has been a positive addition to the town. Although the expensive construction of the center was controversial at first, residents of Christiansburg are now seeing the benefits. The $18 million Aquatic Center is a state-of-the-art facility, which includes a 50-meter competition swimming pool and over 1,000 seats for spectators. After partnering with Virginia Tech Athletics, the center hosts ACC meets and practices throughout the year and serves as a major recruiting tool for the team. Due to these large meets, the town of Christiansburg saw almost $16 million in revenue last year from visitors spending money at local businesses.
We have probably a dozen swim meets a year here when you look at USA Club swimming and high school swimming. And you have hotel rooms being used, and you have restaurants being filled, and not just with the jobs being created by the facility itself, but the economic impact of the people coming in to use the facility.
The center also supports local high school swim and dive teams, as well as offers classes, therapy, and a place for recreation for all Christiansburg residents. Although some doubted the construction of the large aquatic center in such a small town, the citizens of Christiansburg and the Virginia Tech community continue to reap the benefits from the world-class facility. The town hopes that the Aquatic Center will continue to bring more business into the community. Reporting for the news feed, I'm CJ Fiala. Back to you at the news desk.
Virginia Tech's running back and Military Bowl MVP is preparing early for his last, yet most important season of his college career. Newsfeed reporter JoJo Dominic has more on the story.
Football's junior tailback J.C. Coleman adds yet another demanding task to his plate as he recently joined the Virginia Tech track and field team. Not only in hopes of helping the team out in scoring at the ACC championship, Coleman also aims to become a more powerful and explosive athlete.
The transition has been pretty good. I have a very good background with track. Been running since I was about 8 years old, so I have a pretty good background, and I kind of know what to do. It's just a matter of refining my skills and everything that I used to know, and trying to put it back together and come out here and compete.
Coleman is set out to train for and run the men's 60-meter dash, which will ultimately help him in his 40-meter run testing that begins in March when spring football returns, a test in which NFL scouts will be in attendance. Although Coleman represents the number 4 on the football field, he will put on his new uniform in hopes of placing in the top 8 at the ACC championship in order to score and help the men's track and field team towards winning another ACC title.
On February 14th, Coleman came out with a second-place finish in his first meet of the season, but there's still a lot of work to do before the ACC championship. With 1 week left, the 5'8" running back will focus on how to make big strides to the finish line when his new teammates need him most. This is Jonna Dominic reporting for the Newsfeed.
The next track meet is the ACC Championship that will be held at Virginia Tech February 26th through the 28th.
That will wrap up this edition of the Newsfeed. If you have a story idea for the Newsfeed, let us know or send us an email at thenewsfeed@nrv@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Dwayne Alford.
And I'm Kim Kodatek. See you next time.